back to Finding Fashion. Today I'm really excited to welcome Fionnuala Shannon, who is the Executive Director of Dress for Success, an amazing charity that supports women. Thanks so much for joining me. It's lovely to see you.
Lovely to see you as well, Hannah.
Can you tell me a little bit more about Dress for Success and what it is that you do?
Absolutely. So Dress for Success is a worldwide organisation and we have 147 branches across the globe. It was started 21 years ago in New York by 3 nuns. People are really interested to know about that. And it was started with $5,000 and it was actually the 3 nuns who came up with the name Dress for Success. It came to London around 2000, but in 2013, the then trustees decided to disaffiliate. They didn't want to run the Dress for Success anymore, so we relaunched it in 2015 and added Greater London onto the name. So basically what we do, it's actually a no-brainer. We dress women for interview to give them confidence and increase their self-esteem, and we also give them pre-employment training, i.e. like interview prep, career coaching, CV review, looking at transitional skills, career development days, etc. And then the tip of the iceberg is dressing them with our wonderful array of clothes in our stockroom of clothes. And when they get the job, they come back for a week's worth of clothing. Everything's free. All our services are delivered by volunteers, and our volunteers who dress our clients are professional stylists who come from the background of retail or professional styling, etc. And our career coaching is delivered by HR professionals with all the corporates that we partner with.
So is this the most rewarding job ever?
Absolutely. I can say that with hand on my heart. And actually, just to give you a bit of background, I mean, I've worked all over the world in really senior jobs, CEO level, school improvement, curriculum development, but it was always making a difference. And but prior to this, I lived abroad. And when I came back to London in 2015, because I had a grandchild, and Dress for Success job appeared in my mailbox, and I went, oh, that sounds, you know, a real sort of, I have a passion for fashion. I'm not a stylist, but I love fashion, and I love helping people. And what better way to have fashion in your life than helping women? So absolutely. And I have to say, Hannah, every day I go into Dress for Success, we make a difference. You know, we make a difference to someone's life, because if we're volunteering in our organisation and we're helping us to dress the clients or helping them with the interview tips, and you see their face when somebody gives them individual attention for 1.5 hours, they just love it. And any volunteer who comes to volunteer with us, they always come back because they just love what they do, whether it's steaming the clothes, sorting the clothes, working in our confidence shop, or helping the women. They just love it. I mean, some of the women that we do help come from really vulnerable backgrounds, because we work with women from all backgrounds, whether they're single moms, whether they've been abused, whether they've, you know, been trafficked, whether they're ex-offenders, whether they're long-term employed and they just want to get back in the workplace but don't know how. We help them. And honestly, some of the stories that we have, we always get client testimonials to say, you know, they've never felt so good that somebody has even, you know, give them that attention. I mean, at the end of the day, wouldn't you love individual attention, you know, to sort of help style yourself, you know, say what suits you, make you feel fabulous, and then make you feel that you can get that job that you want?
Well, you've sold it to me. Can I come and work with you, please?
Absolutely. You can come anytime and volunteer for us.
So I was swatting up on your website, and it was saying that Dress for Success has 3 stages of impact. It's to donate clothes, give confidence, and volunteer. How do you work with kind of partners and volunteers to get people involved at every single stage?
You know what? It's not really a big, difficult task of getting people to volunteer, because word of mouth is brilliant. And once we've always had a real network of support anyway. And because we are a worldwide organisation, there's lots of companies that are across the globe. So that's a great start for us. So if you've got global companies, we'll already work with them. So they use their volunteering days through their CSR, corporate social responsibility strategies, to use it as Dress for Success. So when I go out and give presentations to corporates and what we do, the impact we make, and I give them some statistics, they automatically sign up for volunteering. So volunteering is never a challenge for us. I mean, the other impact of giving is, well, once I establish a partnership with a corporate, I go in and ask them to do a clothing drive. A clothing drive is free. I mean, what that is, clear out your closet and see what you don't wear anymore. The old rule is, if you haven't worn it for a year, but it's still in really good condition, give it to somebody that would benefit from it. I mean, that's also impacting on the environment. It's extending the life of fashion, etc. as well. So that's where I would start to establish my relationship with the corporate, because it costs them nothing really to organise a clothing drive. Then I go to the next stage of saying, well, could you do corporate volunteering? And through corporate volunteering, they would give us a donation of X amount of pounds per volunteer, because it helps us sustain and manage their tasks, etc. as well. And then I go to the next step of actually asking them to do a fundraising event for us, or making us their charity of the year, or sponsoring a dressing, and I can go into that in a minute what that means, or just giving us a one-off financial donation, because without corporates we couldn't survive. The other area that we make an impact on is, I'll go back to corporate sponsoring a dressing. We've worked it out, and we've did a cost benefit analysis that it costs us £200 per woman to give them 15 months of support. Now, that is a really good value for money program, because within that, they get access to career development days that are hosted by corporates. They get career coaching, which is facilitated by professional coaches. They get mentoring for interviews. They get free capsule wardrobes and free interview clothes. Plus, when they get the job, they are invited back for a professional women's group that every month they have access to ongoing professional development that's facilitated by corporate hosts. So that's a great job. So we would ask corporates to maybe sponsor, anything from 10 dressings up. I mean, one corporate has sponsored us, like 500 dressings. So that's a great fundraiser for us. We don't get any government funding, I have to say, apart from the new Kickstart scheme. So we rely heavily on corporates and on retailers to really financially support us. With retailers, the impact is massive. We do partner with a lot of sort of retailers who would give us either end of line clearance, or they would give us a lot of clothes that we can either sell in our shop that isn't interview appropriate. So if there's a big fancy dress or a glitter dress that you couldn't really wear to an interview, we sell it within our shop, and that's a fundraiser for us. So we rely heavily on all those aspects to keep our organisation going.
Mm-hmm. So you've recently partnered up with online retailer Shein, and I think a lot of people don't know that how much Shein do to support the environment and also to support local communities and charities as well. How do you kind of go about getting a commercial retailer like that on board to work with you on a deeper level?
Well, on a deeper, Shein just came to us last year, and we, because Shein is, really affordable fashion for a younger market, etc. as well. But Shein's sustainability and CSR strategy is absolutely fantastic. If you go on your website and just Google, you'll find that actually Shein do more for environmentally friendly practices than some of the other retailers. So when I talked to Shein and we said, what could we do? And they were really interested in really supporting Dress because they loved our values, they loved our ethos, and it's all about relationship building, and we built a good relationship. So the first thing that they did was they had a virtual fashion show last year because of COVID, and Rita Ora and Ellie Goulding sung at it and did shout outs about Dress for Success. And we raised a lot of money because for every outfit that was purchased over a period of time of the virtual fashion show, they donated a percentage of that purchase to us. So that was a brilliant fundraiser. Plus together they financially donated, you know, another amount out of their budget. And I'm saying we're not the only charity that they fund a few others, but we're one of the big ones that sort of impact on women. A few weeks back we did a great photo shoot, and if you've seen Shane online or Shane Instagram, you would have seen our clients going over and being pampered for the day, and you know, getting their lovely clothes being styled by their stylists and their makeup, etc., and had a great day. So that was a good PR sort of exercise for ourselves to get it out there and who we're working with, you know, and hopefully that'll encourage other retailers to really work with us as well. We're looking at other things that we're hoping to do with Shane, and it's in the pipeline, like, you know, style of the week, you know, in partnership with Shane, etc. as well. So there's a lot of stuff that, you know, maybe you may be interested in. Fashion Finder, you know, if it's a really good style, you can find it here, you know, and we're looking at doing a partnership where, you know, if the sales of some of their products, but because of that, you know, they'll fundraise. But we're hoping that the partnership with Shane will last a few years. I have to say, with partnerships, because it does take a lot of time investing to make sure the partnership works. It's a good fit for Dress for Success, and we're a good fit for them. And so therefore, I don't really like one-off partnerships. I'd rather have a partnership that would last a few years, because then they can see the impact of their investment with Dress for Success, you know, and they can track maybe a few women's stories as well. So, you know, the Shane partnership is one that we really are delighted with at present, amongst all our other partnerships that we have.
I think you've made a really good point there, and actually you see it so much, like it within fashion and beauty, that there are a lot of, you know, fashion and beauty brands who do sign up and work with charities on a one-off basis. And of course it's amazing, like any awareness for charities is incredible, but sometimes it has the tendency to look like a marketing campaign. Whereas the charity and the brand collaborations that work the best are the ones that go on for a long time, and you know, the activity threads through every single thing that the brand does, and that goes from what is being seen by the consumer to, you know, their employees. How do you work with those companies to ensure that your values are being like threaded through like the practices that would be seen by their employees day to day?
You've made a really valid point there by saying, you know, the one-offs, and it's a tick box exercise and it's a marketing ploy. And I've came across so many of them that they've used our name and logo on their website, but yet they haven't did really anything for us. So I'm not interested. I'm quite ruthless now with partnerships. So I'm not interested in, you know, retailers or, you know, smaller fashion outlets or fashion brands who, you know, want to, they say they're about supporting women, but really I don't see anything about supporting women. So the partnerships that I'm interested in are the ones that really do empower women throughout their workplace, you know, really inspire them within their workplace, really look at your ongoing professional development in their workplace, really giving them some insight into what it means to develop a woman, you know, and how you can promote a woman to your future growth. So I'm not interested in any one else who just wants to say, oh, here, come on, we're going to do a one-off fashion event for you, and then we never hear from them again. We've heard of a few, and I mean, you'll see all over social media of a lot of retailers who sign up and they say, oh, we're promoting sustainability of fashion and we're doing this, that and the other, and actually they're not, you know, or we support charitable causes, and actually they're not. So, you know, now, I mean, we have some great fashion sort of brands who have been partnering with us over the past few years, and Net-a-Porter is one of them. At the minute they're reviewing their whole strategy, and a lot of them are coming out of COVID because their sort of priorities and focus have changed. And also we have a great partnership with Adriana Papel, who are a really great leader on how to inspire women, you know, and they dress all our women for our annual Power Women Awards, you know, and they come and they dress them in all their glamorous dresses, because they are really dedicated to the empowerment and development of women. So that's the type of retailer I want.
So of course that you are providing, you know, with these women who need so much help with, you know, clothes for them to wear. But you mentioned earlier that you do also work with them, you know, in terms of like training and workshops as well. What kind of workshops are there that you find that women need the most, and, you know, where they need the support the most?
Okay, so I mean, I've focused a lot on the fashion retailers, And I have to say, some of our greatest supporters are the big corporates out there, you know, who provide the HR expertise and whatever. I mean, throughout COVID, all our clients really, really appreciated our virtual services because we had to turn everything around. A lot of our services that we deliver, and this is my puppy coming in, you'll probably need to edit this out, sorry. A lot of the services that we deliver are around pre-employment training. So what they value and benefit the most from is intense career development workshops. So how that works is, apart from our one-to-one individual interview practice, CV review, etc., career development workshop is where a corporate hosts that career development day, and they have the opportunity to be introduced to the corporate world. A lot of our clients have never been in a corporate world and could be put off by suits, you know. So it's, you know, yeah, it's very good for our clients, and it's really beneficial to them to come in and see that you could be here as well, and it's very inspirational. So a lot of the senior leadership teams within our corporates would host those career development days, not just female, male as well, but it gives them an insight into what you can achieve, you know, what you can aspire to. The other area is around their self-confidence. A lot of the women that come to us, the majority of women have no self-confidence, or they need it lifted, and they need their self-esteem lifted. I mean, my background was in curriculum development all over the world, and I developed a new program called Transit Forward, which is a 7-week program to build self-confidence, and it's using your own skills and your own emotional intelligence to identify your achievements throughout life and transferring them to now, and how they can transfer to now. So we did pilot it in with a group of younger women, and they loved it. We were supposed to roll it out last year, but COVID came. Mm-hmm. So this year we're hoping that if we get funding, we'll start to roll that out. It's a really participative program. You have a life skills workbook, and it'll sort of really instill confidence for women at the end of the course. One of the great things is we also want to look, I mean, this pandemic has really impacted on younger women, you know, agreed, right? Yeah. And, you know, especially because a lot of the younger women were in the areas of hospitality, administration, you know, retail, and they've either been furloughed or now been unemployed. So it hit them hard. So can you imagine how their incomes hit it, how their self-esteem has been hit as well? So, I mean, I have been talking to corporates around why don't they introduce the Transit Forward programme to their entry-level women coming back into the workplace, and it would mean they would start their career again with really good self-confidence. The other area is trying to target women coming out of university or A-level stage, you know, where they're still really young women, and at university they may not have a gap year or a placement year, and they've got all the exams going, but they don't have the confidence or, you know, some of the common sense that you need in the world. So our 7-week program will be fantastic to them. So we're working with a network of professional women at present, and we've got a young chair. If you're on my LinkedIn, you'll see it. She's a young chair from Cisco organisation, who is now chair of our Yes Club, which is Young Executives for Success. And she's taken the Transit Forward rollout across university graduates coming out as well. So, I mean, we're hoping that'll be a really great programme that'll benefit young women going forward.
I think that sounds absolutely incredible, because as a former fashion lecturer myself, I did spend like the last 18 months teaching digitally, and it was really hard on students because they, of course, they were able to collaborate digitally, but there's no way that they're ever going to get the full-on experience of collaborating in person. And I think that really did knock a lot of their confidence, and you know, they weren't able to develop those kind of social skills that they would have done if they'd have had that final year and that final push of being able to work together face to face. So
absolutely, Hannah.
Amazing.
I mean, digital was great because, you know, needs must, and we had to turn it around and do digital. But coming from a background of education and teaching as well, there's nothing beats the dynamics within a room and the participation between students within a room and how you get them involved, you know. So, I mean, our goal is to train trainers to deliver the Transit Forward programme. So some of our volunteers will be trained to deliver the programme. It's an easy programme. Anybody with great communication skills and can engage people can deliver this programme. And I mean, the other hope is it'll be an income generation program for us that we'll charge a minimal fee, but it will bring some needed funds into the organisation, and we're hoping that we could deliver it through all the dress recess across the globe, that they will buy it as a licensed program. So that's our aim. That's our aim. And I mean, our real big aim is to ensure that we have lots and lots of women, and especially a future generation of women, that are economically independent and financially independent, that they can make their own decisions, they thrive in the workplace, and they bridge that gap of gender inequality.
Mm-hmm. So a huge part of what you do at Just for Success is about centered around sustainability, and the very nature of what you do is prolonging the life of clothes that may otherwise be sent to landfill. How does that process work in kind of working with those like corporate retailers, the volunteers, like the people who are donating, in order to get those donations and really make sure that their life is prolonged, so they're not going to landfill?
So, it's on a few levels. So with the corporates, we work with them to do clothing drives, that their pre-loved unworn clothes are donated to Dress for Cess, and they would either get them dry cleaned, or we would have them cleaned when they come to Dress for Cess. We would sort them through, and they either go to our stock room, which is filled up with clothes for our clients, or they go to our confidence shop, which is resold then. With the retailers, we would negotiate with them their end of clearance lines that would otherwise maybe go to a tip or landfill site, or etc. as well. I have to say there's still some retailers out there that will not donate to us because it'll dilute their brand, which to me is amazing, but it will dilute their brand, and they won't. So what do? I mean, they have to really look at their sustainability practices and not overproduce items of fashion or accessories that won't sell. So, that should be part of their sustainability brand. But all in all, a lot of retailers are very good. We would get a lot of donations of, end of lines or returns, etc. as well, that come to us for our clients, or they would, as I'd said, they would either be sorted to go into our shop, or the majority goes to our clients. But if it's not interview appropriate or workwear appropriate, shoes, accessories and clothes go to your confidence shop.
Mm-hmm. So a huge part of what you do at Just for Success is kind of boosting and creating that funding. And you mentioned earlier that you're not government funded. There are obviously a certain number of ways that a lot of charities can use initiatives in order to boost that funding. But what do you find have been the most successful initiatives for you?
Okay, so the most successful initiatives, and I have to go back, we're not government funded apart from the new Kickstart programme, which they have awarded us so many placements for 26 weeks at a time, but that's due to end at the end of this year. So some of the initiatives every year, how we raise our funds to sustain our services, is through corporate sponsorship, sponsor dressings, which corporates like to do, hosting career development days where they would give a donation of X amount of money per career development day, and also our two big events a year, which is we're starting to have a power gala, and the Hippodrome in London is going to host that gala for us on the 2nd of November, and that will be a big fundraiser for us. Plus in March we always host a lot of International Women's Day events, and we have our Power Awards for our Power Women Awards, where we get sponsorship from. So they're the main initiatives that we have each year. Obviously, we have our Confidence Shop in Kensington Church Street, and that premises has been kindly donated to us by a landlord free of charge. So, I mean, we may have that for 3 years, we may have that for 13 years. Mm-hmm. So we make the most of that shop to raise some essential funds for clothes that are not appropriate for the workplace, or we have overstock of. So that's a great fundraiser for us. A lot of the corporates use their volunteering days to do a team challenge, where they come over to the shop and they have a bit of competition between the various teams to see who could be the best sales assistants for that challenge. We also have third-party events where stylists come and do sip and style and shop, and where they would get clients together and they would come over, and not only are they promoting the sustainability of fashion, but they're also buying items from the shop. So that's an indirect fundraiser. It doesn't really cost that much to sustain Dress for Cess, each year, but at the minute we're in catch-22, Hannah, because we're okay where we're sitting, but we want to grow and expand because we've seen an increased demand in our services, and we really want to sort of respond to that increase in demand, but we need to go up to the next level of funding to bring in another program manager. So that's our challenge going forward.
So how does it work when it comes to celebrities? Because so many brands and charities now, they do utilize celebrity faces in order to gain traction about a charity campaign. How do you work to align like the values of a celebrity with the values of your brand to make sure that it's a really true and authentic collaboration?
It's difficult. I'm just going to be totally honest. It's difficult. There's a lot of celebrities that are really good, and there's a lot of celebrities that charge for their appearance or charge for it, which leaves a really bad taste in my mouth, because they should be given back as well. And especially we're a charity that supports women. One of our biggest challenges is getting celebrity ambassadors. I mean, one of our patrons at the minute is Angie Greaves, who's off Magic and Smooth Radio, Capital Radio, and Angie does a lot of things for us, but we do have a challenge now. Coming shortly is we have a lot of celebrities coming to our photo shoot next Monday, and I'm hoping from that photo shoot take that some of the celebrities will really take up the challenge to become an ambassador or a patron for us. Equally, at the Hippodrome event in London, in the 2nd of November, we would like some of the celebrities who are going to be asked to attend to really take up the challenge of taking Dress for Success on board to be and become an ambassador for us. But it is difficult, and we do realise that celebrities, might be pressurised for time, etc. as well. But especially if it's a female celebrity, what better way to give back to, and especially because celebrities are always in the public eye and you always have to look good, what better way of giving back to, sort of align themselves and their values with the values of Dress for Success and empowering women and looking good and increasing confidence and aspiring to be, better than what you are. So, I think it's a no-brainer for celebrities to become an ambassador for Dress for Success, but it is a challenge.
So I was reading that actually there has been an increase in women, downshifting their careers or actually leaving the workforce completely, which, if you think about it, is really causing companies to be at risk of losing women in leadership positions, full stop. How can you at Dress for Success, but also companies as a whole, work to support women in the workplace?
Well, we support women in the workplace, especially after they get the job, by offering them more ongoing professional development and inspiring stories from other women within corporate. So every month we would host a professional women's group where women from senior levels would facilitate, a session on anything from health and well-being to work-life balance, etc. as well. I mean, I was reading as well with Catalyst, did a big piece of research on women in the workplace and how we might lose future expertise within the workplace and how do we bridge that gap. And unfortunately, Hannah, throughout my career, it's always been the case, and yes, there's more women downsizing, and maybe COVID has made them rethink what their priorities are in life, but also as well, corporates should be making the workplace a lot more women and female friendly by having more females on their boards or their executive senior leadership teams, etc. as well, and ensuring they have that equal balance across. I know some corporates are striving to do that at present, and they are making inroads in terms of looking at their strategy and looking at how they can look at their workplace diversity. And, even for women sort of returning to work, after having children, they should make it more work-life balance friendly, etc. as well. I mean, I was fortunate enough, time to time I do inspirational talks for our clients, and I was fortunate enough throughout my career that I was able to work around my kids' schooling and whatever. So when they were off, I took off, or else I worked remotely. So a lot of those initiatives should be implemented within the workplace. Also, as well, even with the pay gap, I mean, it's still, the pay gap is a big issue, that males in similar roles to women are getting a lot more financial remuneration than females. So that needs to be looked at. I know there's still, again, there are corporates that are really, positively addressing this, but there's still a lot of work to be done. And I think it's always going to be on the agenda that there will be a gap between male and females within the workplace.
When it comes to diversity in the workplace, it's actually been reported that Black women are the least likely group to hold senior level positions. What do you think is being done to give women of colour those equal opportunities?
I think the gap is being narrowing, and it has been narrowing. And I'm just reading some statistics, because I was reading up on this as well. And there's a great 2020 Catalyst report. And I think after last year's events, of George Floyd, etc. in America, and the Black Lives Matter campaign, people are really looking at, what are we doing, to sort of make sure that we're looking at diversity within the workplace and promoting Black women, especially some really Black women who have really got the skills needed to become senior managers. So I think, again, there's a long way to go. And I think each corporate has a responsibility to look at their diversity strategy and look at, what is the makeup of their organization, but I still think there's a lot more to come. I mean, our chair and founder of Dress for Success Greater London is a Black woman, and even she would give inspirational talks and, how vital it is to really change the dynamic of a workplace. And it's not just about your skin and the color of your skin, it's about the skills that you have to deliver that job, so I think they need to look more at that. I mean, it might be a long way to go, but I think there is some inroads being made, and I think there may be a small narrowing of the gap. But again, I think it's about, education within the workplace, looking at a woman in their own individual merit, not by the color of their skin, and looking at what the skills they need to do that type of job, and, the fit that's right.
Well, I think that everything that Dress for Success are doing, it's just so inspiring, and it just talking to you makes me want to get involved instantly. Have you, throughout the time that you've worked for Dress for Success, have you got any particularly memorable moments where you felt like you really made a difference?
Absolutely. I mean, our Power Women Awards that we started 5 years ago, and last year we celebrated 5 years of our Power Women Awards, and it was just before COVID came, and we had 5 women clients come up and gave their inspirational stories, which just everyone in the room was emotional. So that was a big emotional point for me. Also, I mean, we've had some outstanding clients, and I've got to know them over the years, and one of them in particular, because everyone always thinks, we deal with disadvantaged, low income women from really marginalized backgrounds. And yes, we do, but not all of them are. And this particular lady came from quite a wealthy background, and she was just down on her luck. And her father was knighted by the Queen for architecture in London, some of the great buildings. But she was down on her luck. She was a drug addict, and she ended up as a prostitute and out on the streets. And her partner died in her arms. So she had a real horrific everybody's a story to tell. And she came to Dress for Success because she wanted to get her life turned around. And her story's actually on our website, Jessie's story. And Jessie came to us because she was part of a single homelessness project. And she came to us, and we give her pre-employment training, whatever. And she ended up getting the job that she went to after months of coming to us. And she now mentors young women. Wow. So that's a big success story for us. And she became an ambassador for Dress for Success. We've equally another lady who had real bad mental health issues, had a horrific experience experience with previous employers, and she came to us, and she also became ambassador for us, and we turned her life around, and she now does inspirational talks on mental health and her experience, and runs her own local radio station. So we have lots and lots of really great stories every week, and thank goodness we now have physical services back again, because it was harder to get the real achievements through virtual services. And but every week we have an inspiring story, and especially I'm only in the office maybe once or twice a week, but when I'm in, I always sit down and talk to your clients, and some of our client stories are, they're just really, they make you really humble, Hannah, because you just sort of go, how lucky we are, even with some of the gripes that we you know, if it's a Monday morning blues, or if it's something not quite working out for us, I sort of flip it all the time and turn it around into a positive, because listen, we are far better off than some of our clients. And even during the pandemic, can you imagine some of our clients who had a lot of single parents who had kids, no money, and increased anxiety with COVID, or equally if they were in a controlled coercive relationship, or they were experiencing domestic violence at nowhere to turn. We had a lot of clients like that just were using our befriending service, you know, to just want the listening ear. So we have lots and lots of stories that we could tell. I mean, one day I would love to capture all our stories and have, you know, a Dress for Success book where it's just full of images and client stories, you know. So then, and it could be a fundraiser, and we could launch it. So maybe that's something you can collaborate with us on.
Well, I would definitely be buying a copy. So for anybody watching this, how can we get involved? How can we help? Like, what can we do?
Okay, so obviously I keep mentioning fundraising. Funds are a big challenge for us. So if you have any connections within your corporate social responsibility team, connect me to them, you know, and I'll sort of pick up that relationship. Volunteering, if you want to volunteer for Dress for Success, you know, sign up for volunteering, and you can do all that through our website, which is dressforsuccessgl.org. You know, give your pre-loved clothes if they're in good condition and you want to move them on, send them over to us at two of our locations, either in Notting Hill or Kensington Church Street. And, you know, just support us, talk about us, go on our website regularly. Even if we have events, buy tickets to go to your events. You'll always be guaranteed either really great networking, but also a good fun night. So, you know, just support us wherever you can. But the main challenge for us is fundraising.
Mm-hmm. Well, I feel like I could talk to you all evening and quiz you about everything that you do. You know, it's just incredible. I take my hat off to you, like amazing work. And I really hope that, you know, we can continue working together and, you know, supporting you, because you know, it's just incredible. I've got nothing else to say.
Absolutely, Hannah. I mean, I'm delighted you invited me on tonight to talk about Dress for Success, and I know you're passionate about empowering women, because we've talked previously about it, and I mean, we've made a connection. So I doubt very much if our collaboration will go away.
I hope not. Well, thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to speak to you soon, and hopefully see you in person too.
Oh, yes, we will. We definitely will make time for coffee or a glass of wine.
Definitely.
Okay.
Maybe wine.
Thank you, Hannah.
All right then. Take care.
Okay. Bye. Bye.